Hi, I'm Mike Cosmic for the Cosmic Clash, and we're here with Conrad Keely, lead member of, and you will know us by the Trail of the Dead. But he's also a magnificent artist, obviously. How are you doing?
Good.
Every Sunday.
Yeah, recovering.
Recovering.
Sunday
Yay,
recovery day.
Sunday recovering day.
Yeah.
No mimosas, just really good coffee.
Yeah, just coffee.
I appreciate this coffee.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers.
Here's the good coffee.
Magnificent coffee. Is it? What kind of coffee was this again?
So this is a blend. Some of the ones that I got from Bali and Cambodia. But Cambodia is definitely like my favorite type of coffee. Yeah, I just throw them all together. I can never recreate the same blend. They're always different. So if I make one that's like stellar, I don't know how to recreate it. I just have to
this
keep
is
moving on.
so good. I'm like, what the
Thank
heck?
you. Yeah. One day I'll have my own bookstore with a coffee shop, and that's what I'll be serving.
You'll be serving.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your art. Obviously, you've done musician and art. They go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
You being an artist, and lately, I guess throughout a couple of years already, seeing you, out there painting some of the skateboards and the art that you have here. How did that start?
I always wanted to do more painting. Up until then, I was pretty much just in sketchbooks. Everything I did could be fit onto a piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
But I had all my paints and I had all these canvases that I kept collecting. I would go to Hobby Lobby and be like, "Oh, this canvas is cool. It's circular, ovular, hexagonal." So I'd start collecting, but I didn't paint on them. And so actually it was one of my friends in town, Johnny Walker, who was like painting at the time, and I was like, you know what, dude? I got to get back into painting. I just got to do it. I'm going to do it. So once I started, well, then it was just kind of like snowball to the point where like now it's kind of hard to stop. I almost have to force myself. Like if there's other things that I need to take care of, like make prints or, work on other things, I have to tell myself that I can't paint. I will not allow myself to paint that day.
Just to give is it something that your brain just like runs through where you're like thinking of something? Oh, I could do this on this or this type of medium or.
Well, I like to work with multiple canvases at the same time. So usually I'll have something that's half finished, and then just looking at it, I'll be like, okay, that's what this needs.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I can do with this, and this is how I can improve it. And I mean, I feel that way even when I'm looking at some of these ones that are on the wall. Like that one, I'm still thinking, okay, it's just not quite there yet. I can't remember what artist said that like a painting is never finished, abandoned, and there is truth to that. Like, I could continue to work on any of these paintings that are supposedly finished.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what it's like when I'm like just walking around looking at pieces and be like, oh, you know what? I could fix this. And then I'll take it out of its frame and then put it back on the canvas and start working on it again.
Is it something where I guess some of the ideas they're totally different, and where do you draw most of your inspiration from? Because you do have like a lot of knights and swords and and cool stuff like that.
Well, I love knights and swords. I love. I definitely have a series of like mystical women holding goblets, which goes all the way back because like that one I did like in 2011, and that's or 2009 I think. So I don't know where that came from, but it's just been like a reoccurring theme. But I think that a lot of when I'm, starting a new piece or something, it usually is from the standpoint of a technical challenge. It isn't so much like, oh, I'm really feeling this imagery right now, or this. I really want to paint this. It's more like, okay, how could we approach this with a new lighting technique, or I really want to try this like a landscape at sunset, or where was that one that it's somewhere.
We'll put it on. I'll put it out. I'll clip it into the video. Yeah, the one with the goblet back there. Yeah, because that one is intricate. You'll see it. But
yeah, so usually it's more like a technical thing that I'm doing. Like, okay, so this one, even though it's not, I don't consider that a great painting or anything, but the technical challenge for me was how do you use a small palette? Like, you're just going to use blue and red and maybe just a little bit of I got some green highlights there, but to make it predominantly just like two colors. So that was that challenge. These ones were just like, oh, okay, like, what can we do on a drum head? And that was kind of like a minimalist thing to just kind of,
Yeah, but just black and red. Yeah, it's
two colors.
dope.
And that is a challenge in and of itself, because I think when you're painting and you've got like 100 tubes of paint, they're all different colors. Your
trying to
inclination
choose,
is to
mix,
just keep adding colors. And
I
adding
would do
colors,
that, right? It's like, let me use them all.
And you end up with what I kind of call like the rainbow effect, where there's no predominant color. Like that piece that we're talking about, that's a good example of that, where like back then I didn't really have much of an understanding of color theory, so the details are really good on it, but the color is just kind of like this jumble of like all these different Copic markers, and then color is kind of more something I've started to learn or teach myself. And so oftentimes that's the inspiration. It's just like, okay, what can we do with this color theme or this palette?
And using a smaller color palette, is that more of a challenge because now it's more in the details of, say, like the two colors that you're using in order for an image or that emotion of whatever you're trying to come out?
Well, that is definitely part of it, for sure. But also, so there's kind of this esoteric thing that I've learned about color, that one of the most powerful colors that is overlooked is gray. And that's because we don't realize how much gray we see and on a daily basis. Gray is the color that creates the shades going from high saturation to zero saturation. And so when you're looking at a painting and like say a classic Renaissance painting, and you get that kind of like background effect, that fade to the background, you achieve that really by kind of knowing how much gray to add. And so I actually got this like palette of like this set of colors, and it was just like all these different tones of gray: green gray, red gray, orange gray, yellow gray, blue gray, cool gray, warm gray.
That's okay. I've never noticed that. Now I'm going to start noticing it in everything. Every time I drive somewhere.
Yeah, so if you don't use gray, you end up with a very vivid, bright picture, but it might not have that much depth. And so in order to achieve the realism of depth, you kind of have to know how to apply tones of gray.
I guess that's what they used to do, I guess, with the old school monitors of CTR. Whenever you're trying to adjust and you have the different grays, you're like...
Yeah.
For the shadows.
Yeah.
I guess that's... Yeah. I'm not an artist, or never took anything like...
Well, technology has really helped, at least helps me to better understand that, because like say you've got like a reference photo and stuff, and then if you're using them like Procreate, a lot of artists or whatever you use, Photoshop, and you use a color picker, and you go to that one color that you can't, your brain is not telling you what that color is, and then you use the color picker and it shows you. So sometimes you'll look at something and you think it's like a yellow, right? And then you go to the color picker and you're like,
eye drop thing.
That's actually a green, It's a color that's like in between, and when you're mixing paint, you'll go for like your yellow, and you'll be like, oh, that's too red. But then you go to a color picker on your app, and you're like, and you analyze what that color is, and you're like, okay, that's actually on the green spectrum, so I've got to bring that in. So yeah, technology helps in that way. I mean, I can only imagine the trial and error that traditional painters had to do that.
I'm sure it was
before.
expensive as hell too. It's like I ruined this whole color thing. What are your? I guess. Is there anything that, as in colors, that you like other than gray that kind of like always show up?
Well, lately I've
paintings?
definitely been going through like my red phase, and I don't know why, but I honestly don't remember.
Is it the brightness of
why.
it?
It definitely is attention grabbing.
It is, yeah, and
You know, and that was why it was so fun to just like, okay, two colors, red, black, boom, that's it. You know, I experimented a little bit with orange, but I don't know. You know, like I'm one of those people that actually has a favorite color. You know, usually kids have a favorite color, and you kind of grow out of that. But I love blue. You know, I love
me too.
royal
I'm
blue.
a very I don't know what it is with the color, the blue.
Yeah.
It almost kind of resembles the gray. For me, it's very calming and soothing, like kind of like a hug in a way.
It has that royalness to it.
Yeah.
That ultramarine. You know, going back historically. Ultramarine means over the ocean because it came from so far away. Lapis lazuli came from like Afghanistan, and it was a very expensive color, which is why in old Renaissance paintings only like either the royalty or the Virgin Mary had blue clothes. But and then when you lean towards the purple, there's also that other kind of like kind of royal. I mean, I love burgundy as well, and that's usually why a lot of my guitars are. I have a lot of
it's like this
burgundy
dark.
guitars,
It's like
know?
almost like a blood color, you know, in a way.
And so, like in Roman times, purple was also like only certain people. I think only the
like royalty or upper class
could wear purple. So yeah, I love like that part of the story too, like the symbolism that has been applied to color throughout the ages, and some of that gets lost these days. Back then there was like an iconography to color. You use a certain color and you know that it's supposed to represent something, in the same way that like back in classical times there was even a symbolic iconography to keys, keys in music. If you're going to do something in E, there's a meaning to that, and that's kind of gets lost. That like we've lost like those that kind of
depth,
code.
that meaning, that code. I could see that.
But in the same time, we're kind of creating a new vocabulary, So there's a visual vocabulary now that we'll see that people 200 years from now will look back and be like, why is everyone like winking and sticking their tongue out? Like what does that mean? What the hell is that about? Yeah.
I know, and then it's changing so fast. I mean, even with that, like ridiculous things with the thumb up, I'm like, well, I remember it meant a good thing, but I guess now some people think it's sarcastic and stuff like that. I mean, I don't understand. Whatever it is, I guess it makes me feel old in a way, but I still like my cool stuff, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I think it's fun to be playful about that. I've always been a huge anime manga fan. I mean, because I grew up in Asia and seeing, like, even when we moved to Hawaii, it was like predominantly Japanese culture in like entertainment and stuff. We had a Japanese channel, so like I remember,
That's
and
cool.
that was definitely not subtitled back then. So first time I saw Godzilla and all that stuff, it was in Japanese. I've seen that entertainment world just keeps growing and growing, and now it's just like
It's a culture thing. It's so different.
big. It's just beyond big. It's deep as far as like all the different subgenres of it. Like there's this one subgenre, and it's just about people in the real world entering a video game. I can't even remember the name of that subgenre. It's got its own name for it, but like, and that's just like this whole thing of like worlds that come out of that, So I love exploring that, and I think that's one of the things that makes like that's the positive side of like social media for me, is like when I go on Instagram and I go down that wormhole.
Or the people that are actually inventing things and being original and likewise.
Yeah.
I don't like a lot of the negative stuff. I'm like, I just swipe. I don't subscribe to it.
You just have to know how to tune it out.
Yeah.
It's always going to be there.
Yeah,
and
from now on,
like,
it's like television.
Our minds are like, they're spotlights. You train it on what you want to look at.
Exactly. It's almost like that Stanley Kubrick movie where they, what is it, Clockwork Orange, where they keep in there, his eyes open, and it's just all this media stuff. That's exactly what.
Stop it, please.
The doom scrolling. Oh my goodness.
That's funny.
Do you have anything else coming up? You have something coming up, didn't you? I think we talked about a couple weeks ago. Tomorrow. Well, this won't be out, but it'll.
I am putting my art in Book People. So if anyone's in town and they swing by Book People, it'll be hanging in. I think they call it Coffee People. Is the cafe
Coffee People?
in the corner?
Okay, I'll
So
chop
it'll be
this up
hanging
tonight.
up at the coffee shop in Book People. I also have some work up right now at Barrett's, which is the bagel place. Wait, Mazzy's. Sorry, what's Barrett? That's another place.
Austin has so many
Barrett's Coffee
places.
Was where I had another show back. I had a show there last year. Mazzy's Bagel is what I'm thinking about, and that's on 12th.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I passed by there. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So I've got some stuff there. And then on the 14th, the 14th of September, I think we're going to announce that tomorrow. We're going to have another warehouse art party. And mainly that's just because, like, all of my artist friends, like, none of us have any gallery connections in town. We've never been asked to show at a gallery. We don't know who to talk to. So we just kind of have to make our own gallery. And so this is how we're doing it. We're just, we're
It's
having
punk
a
style
one-night
art.
show. It's very
doing
punk.
it yourself. It's like, hey, I got a place.
Yeah. I think to me that is kind of like the continuing the ethos of like early 90s punk music is like if your band is banned from all the
Other
venues,
clubs and venues that don't even want to
if
even.
they won't book you, you just have to make your own venue. Yeah, so that's kind of like where we're at.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, this was wonderful talking to you, man.
Cool.
I look forward to
Yeah, man.
the rest of it.
Thank you for coming
This
by.
is Conrad Keely. He's a great guy. Go check out his art. I'll catch you guys later. I'm Mike Cosmic. Cheers to the coffee. I know Zelda. Breath of the Wild. I'm still on that. I'm finishing to 100%.
You got all the banned books.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Catch you guys later. Bye. you.